We know many of you listen to this podcast on the go, driving to work, working out, even doing chores. Now you can get CPE credit for that time. With Earmark, you can earn free NASBA approved CPE for listening to the Inside Public Accounting podcast. After you listen to an episode, take a quiz and your certificate will be ready. Earmark has courses for everyone in your firm, from staff to partners. Get started today at earmark.app or download the free app on the App Store.
They say artificial intelligence isn't coming for accounting. It's already here. And the real question is your accounting firm ready? We are in very uncharted territory, and we need to talk to the experts, the advisors, the people that are walking along this shaky path. And to help us make sense of the shift, our special guest with us here on the Inside Public Accounting podcast is Jin Chang. He's the CEO and co-founder of Fieldguide. And we're going to get his perspective on so many different things. Jin, welcome to the show.
Rob, thanks for having me on Fieldguide. I don't know if you would call me an expert, but I am a former auditor turned AI entrepreneur. And I like to say Fieldguide is very much building the platform I wished I had. So excited to be here and share some of the lessons we've learned in the field.
It's great that you've got some accounting blood in you, because accountants are a strange breed, Jin, wouldn't you say?
Special breed, and one that, I still have so many friends in the industry. And actually, my story comes a bit from running away from the profession. Everyone sees the numbers right now, hundreds of thousands of people leaving the profession, new undergraduates not entering the profession. I lived it every day, and our team is made up of many former auditors too. So we have a special kind of appreciation for the profession. And the exciting news is we see in practice how firms are benefiting from modern technologies like generative and agentic AI.
Well, we'll come on to that for sure, because it's very much your area of expertise. But generally speaking, Jin, what kind of shape do you feel accounting is in right now? There's a lot going on, isn't there?
I like to say that the accounting industry and its future is complicated, but it's also bright. I think just a few years ago, everyone was talking about this talent shortage. I would say nowadays it's more about having the right talent to position firms for the next decade of success. But this is an industry that's been resilient through really centuries. If you think about accounting as a practice, it's been in human society for a long time. Everyone says accounting is the language of business. We at Fieldguide, we like to talk about how auditors and consultants are enablers of trust between businesses and their stakeholders. I like to joke that auditing is a terrible marketing term. No one knows what auditors do.
It's not sexy either, is it, Jin?
It's not sexy. It's not known. I like to say that my mother doesn't know what auditors do still, even though I practiced for 5 years. But the fascinating thing is almost everyone in the world touches the work of auditors and consultants. We are investors in stocks, whether you study the numbers or not. We are all consumers of the assurance services that these firms provide. So at Fieldguide, we like to talk about it as a very noble profession and one that really matters. So that's a big driver behind the mission at Fieldguide.
That's very good. It's lovely to hear you say that. You're a very good ambassador of the brand of accounting. But if you asked 100 auditors what auditing is, you'd get 100 different answers, wouldn't you? So I completely understand that. Here on the Inside Public Accounting podcast, Chelsea Summers, my co-host, and she tells a lot about the stories behind the numbers. And one piece of research they came up with recently with the survey that they've done is from automating 70% of audit tests into rethinking what it means to be AI ready. We know you've got the answers, and a lot of firms claim to be AI ready, but they're not. So that there appears to be this maturity curve. Some are adopting it early, some are adopting it very late and waiting and seeing what happens. We know that the technology is evolving so quickly. 59% of firms are proactively learning about or researching AI technologies, but only 8% are in a wait and watch mode. That's down from 18%. So there's a few doing things. And finally, and I want to bring you in on this, only 43% of firms are actually investing in AI or transformative technology, showing that the execution and the intent are not always aligned. So talk to us about this maturity framework and where firms are, you think, on this distribution curve.
You and the IPA team are noting very important statistics, and we are experiencing it in the market too. Year over year, the dialogue and receptiveness to AI has really leapt forward. Just a year ago, we weren't really talking about agentic AI, and now apparently everyone is agentic AI. We can get into that in a moment too. But at Fieldguide, we've been building AI products for the last pretty much since ChatGPT hit the scene, late 2022. And through those years, we've had the great privilege of working with some of these leading edge CPA firms who have really leaned into AI. Of course, in every industry in the world, we're going to have laggards who adopt technology after their peers and friends
Of course.
experiment more with it too. Given that experience working with the leading edge firms, we're seeing real use cases in practice. What we've wanted to do with the AI maturity framework is provide a roadmap for this industry. It's first of its kind. We think there's plenty of noise in AI already. So we want to bring a practical roadmap that meets firms where they are. So really the takeaway with this, 6 levels of autonomy is we want to help firms self-identify where they are in AI maturity, and then progressively AI transform into an AI-powered CPA firm of the future. We at Fieldguide believe that, frankly, the reason we believe this to be true is because we see firms already at progressively higher levels of autonomy. We believe that the AI-powered firm of the future will be the winning firms of the future. On the one end, level 0 is literally what it sounds like, zero autonomy. And level 5 would be, put simply, AI that automates and provides intelligence that elevates CPA practitioners to do their best possible work. Expert judgment, client relationship building, frankly, the stuff no one wants to do, that's what we're trying to automate.
Why is it such a big deal for firms to be AI ready?
Well, I think in human civilization, we've seen many industrial revolutions. And one truism through all of those revolutions is the people and companies or organizations who don't transform through that revolution, they get forgotten, they get left behind. So I even talk about this internally at Fieldguide. You don't want to be a marketer that doesn't know how to use AI. You don't want to be a product manager who doesn't know how to use AI, because what that means is in the next 5 years, you may not be employable because, frankly, the people and the organizations who do know how to leverage AI to the best of their abilities, they're going to beat the humans and organizations who don't every single time. So we at Fieldguide, we care so much about this industry. We don't want to see anyone left behind. This is such an important industry that has a noble purpose for providing trust or enabling trust between companies and organizations. And frankly, there's already a shortage in that capacity in the world. We can't afford to have anyone left behind. Yeah, that's how we kind of view our purpose in the industry too.
And you've spoken about it briefly. Accountants are those trusted advisors. They have all the answers, they have all the experts, and they're very elevated in the minds of their clients. I wonder how well they assess themselves in whether they're AI ready. Do they have a lot of confidence in their AI readiness? How do they see themselves?
I think a lot of CPA practitioners these days, and I think this is true for any industry right now, we've grown more confident and more comfortable with both the benefits and limitations of AI. The reality is generative and agentic AI, it's not going to take over the human aspects of the job. So we've found that, at least from an approachability perspective, people and CPA practitioners and CPA firms are more receptive and leaning into AI. Now, that doesn't mean they're ready, right? And that's the distinction we like to make. While we're encouraged by how receptive everyone has been the last 6 to 9 months, there's so much eagerness. Every firm is practically buying an enterprise Copilot license or an enterprise ChatGPT, Claude, you name it, right?
Yeah.
And we have no issues with those products. We're actually big fans ourselves, and we use many of those products internally too. But what we're starting to learn is without purpose-built AI, it's hard for these CPA firms to truly benefit from the promise of AI too. It's not enough to have a chat interface, or even if there's a chat interface embedded in a legacy solution, or I like to say bolted on, that doesn't mean it's truly bringing the benefits of AI.
There are so many different roles an accountant occupies these days, so many different service lines. It seems that audit lends itself very well to AI, and you're on the record of saying firms are automating up to 70% of their audit testing. What does that actually look like in practice, and why is audit such a good fit for AI?
I get asked this question a lot, especially in Silicon Valley, where venture capital investors will ask me, why is it audits time to shine now?
Mm.
Well, a few years ago, one of the best use cases was legal AI. So when you look at some of the startups in legal AI, they're doing very well right now. Well, I like to say it's because the first killer app of AI was ChatGPT, or a chat-based LLM experience. And that's perfect for legal workflows, legal research, document analysis. And frankly, it's also perfect for tax research and workflows as well. Fast forward to today. Remember, last year we barely started talking about agentic AI. This year, everyone's talking about agentic AI, whether they are agentic or not.
In fact, a lot of the technology vendors and providers will claim to be AI integrated, but you and I both know, Jin, it's a little bit of bot scraping or data scraping or whatever, and they don't truly understand it themselves, unlike you guys at Fieldguide, obviously, that know it extremely well.
I'll hold back some of my opinions, but
That's very diplomatic of you.
you're right. We think a lot of the legacy solutions are just bolting on
Yeah,
a chat interface.
that's what I was trying to say.
Yes, yes. And the reality is these legacy systems are not designed to be agentic systems or AI first systems, right? We like to say at Fieldguide, we have the world's largest corpus of audit data that's specifically designed for AI systems. Cloud solutions, well, let's say many of the solutions are still transitioning to the cloud, but cloud itself of the last 10, 20 years, those systems are not designed for an AI future. In fact, they are not even designed to collect the data necessary for improvements of AI uses. So we believe there's this new category of data. At Fieldguide, we know when our AI outputs are accepted, revised, rejected. So over time, we've been able to really tailor our AI to not just the accuracy requirements, of course, not just the speed benefits, but also all the way down to how our AI reasons and documents work just like a human auditor would. Now, let's break down what makes it audits time to shine. Auditors and audit methodologies that they use, they have set kind of processes and decision flows that come from specific client situations and their risk assessments. And those procedures and process flows and decision flows are very conducive to the benefits of what I like to say, today's agentic AI. And today's agentic AI is different than what we'll see in the next 3-4 years, right? That's where we start to get into levels 4 and 5, right? Today's agentic AI is within kind of a defined scope of problem solving. Agents are able to reason, problem solve, and get to solutions much faster and better than just a pure human team would do. So we've been working with some top global firms on their agentic initiatives. Recently, we did, I like to say, a competition between their best human practitioners and human practitioners who were collaborating with our agents. And what we're seeing is we mutually planted with that firm 20 exceptions in the testing. The human team took all day, basically 8 hours of 5 people. And they found I should say 19 of the 20 exceptions. Not bad, right? The team that worked with our agents found all 20 within 30 minutes. So we're already seeing these kinds of game-changing benefits. This is not incremental, bolt-on benefits that, we think most of the industry is claiming is agentic. This is a true leap forward. And while we aren't, in my opinion, close to AGI, we can still find major benefits in agentic AI today.
Yes. It's an astonishing statistic, but we already know that AI can pass the bar exam and the CPA qualification and everything else. Talk to me about the culture and people side of this, Jin, because the IPA's IT report recently reported that less than half of firms are providing AI-related training. But if you're going to be ready for it, if you're going to build your culture and your structures, your policies, your procedures, there's got to be a certain amount of people development.
Absolutely. I like to say it's not enough to just buy a ChatGPT license for your firm. Just expect people to find great use cases. In fact, most firms we talk to, they say like, oh, we bought the enterprise ChatGPT license and only like 10% of my people are using it. It's not enough to do that, right? Really where it starts And what we see to be one of the big differences between ones who are really leaping forward versus kind of lagging is it starts with the right tone at the top. The firms who treat AI as an afterthought, as an experimental thing in the backroom lab are going to get, afterthought results, frankly. But the firms where we see CEOs and managing partners mandating really to their firms, the reality of our firm's future is we will be AI powered, and thus everyone needs to find the best uses of AI. And we as a firm will invest in your education, your upskilling, and they set the right tone and culture. Now, tone and culture, vision, obviously very important, but you have to properly invest in the infrastructure and enablement too. So creating training programs, building enablement, of course, selecting the right tools to begin with and configuring them properly for your practice. The reality is right now, the industry as a whole, we're just starting to kind of refactor what that firm of the future looks like, all the way down through even the CPE courses, right? CPE courses that were designed 10, 20 years ago, beyond just being boring, they're practically useless the next 10 years.
Not fit for purpose.
No.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It sounds like you have the mentality that you don't just help firms with buying the software, inserting the software, but the integration, the adoption, the cultural side of it, bringing people up to speed with it. That's a big part of the success puzzle here with AI, isn't it?
That's right. In fact, we learned very early on that just having our AI engineers build AI products isn't enough. Believe me, we wished that was enough. But what we found is we have to really approach our role as a technology vendor more as a technology consultant.
Indeed.
So we draw lessons from more traditional tech consulting playbooks and firms like the Accentures of the world, right? Helping firms through their AI transformation journeys, redoing their CPE and training coursework. And actually, we are starting to build out our own CPE coursework for this, fit for purpose AI enabled future. So, we found that we have to have this very holistic approach. We have, Accenture, Deloitte consulting type folks on the team who are experienced transformation consultants. We have AI solution engineers who are, custom configuring generative and agentic AI for specific firms. These are the kinds of investments that a technology vendor who wants to help this industry through AI transformation is required to do. It's not enough to just build an AI product and expect people to come.
I recently did a project called 5 Questions for the Accounting World in partnership with WriteWorks, actually. And I asked 110 people, what can the tech vendors and software providers do better to serve accountants? And one of the most common answers was, I wish they employed accountants. I wish they were CPAs and were accredited and had the qualifications so that they would understand our world. Now, you're an accountant. You're probably very intentional at bringing accountants and auditors into your team to sit alongside the software developers and the R&D specialists to make sure you understand the world, the problems, the vocabulary, so that this inserts well.
Absolutely. In fact, this is the core crux of being able to provide AI that's custom or purpose built for the CPA profession. The hard part, though, is former CPAs are not always the most innovative. But also, pure AI companies don't really understand the work of CPAs. So finding that right combination of and mix it's definitely easier said than done. My co-founder and I represent both sides. My co-founder has been, a CTO, machine learning AI engineer for the past decade plus, building Silicon Valley companies. I come from practice. Now, when you look at every core team at our company, we have a good mix of both former auditors and Silicon Valley AI engineers. We think that's absolutely required. So when you speak to some of the firms that work with us, they'll say, like, one of the things we love about Fieldguide is your people know what we're talking about. They live through every day because we've lived it too.
One of the concerns that firms have is with data. They are the guardians of data, Jin. You know how much data they hold. They're in very powerful positions, but they're in the business of mitigating risk, accountants. So they think a lot about data security, ethics, data quality and risk. How do you help them balance AI adoption with those concerns?
Those are totally valid concerns because CPAs, their entire service is built on trust, right? Their
Indeed.
clients trust them with very sensitive data and information. And thus, we take it very seriously. Security and privacy matters, but also compliance to standard setting bodies as well. So when it comes to security and privacy matters, Fieldguide, we've been very attentive to this from day one. In fact, we think this is something that can't be treated as an afterthought. It's no longer enough to just have a SOC 2 type 2 report, which of course is foundational to many compliance efforts. We earned that, from the first year of our founding, and we've been progressively investing in our risk management program through the years. Most recently, we've also been certified on ISO 42001, which is the AI management system compliance framework or certification. In fact, we're one of the first companies in the world to have earned that certification because we knew that our customers, the CPA firms, they have a very trusted relationship with their clients. Now, when it comes to compliance to standard setting bodies, what we're seeing is not just the AI CPA, but ISO, PCI, all these other compliance framework standards bodies, they're all coming out with more AI guidance too. Basically, in a nutshell, all the standard setting bodies are saying you can use AI, but you as a human need to own the work. And under the surface, there are many more like compliance things where we have to document things in a very specific way, explainable, traceable, auditable AI. But the simple way I like to think about it as a former CPA myself, the AI needs to document things just like how a human should do their work too.
Jen, you speak to and Fieldguide serves some of the biggest accounting firms and some of the most senior leaders around. You speak to them regularly. Some of them are a little bit older, let's just say that, and a lot of them are overwhelmed and overloaded. So what advice do you give to them when they're overtaken by the pace of change? They want to get started. They don't want to get left behind. They're full of the best intentions. But where do we start? How do we even get a foothold in this new world? What do you say to them?
I tell them, don't be discouraged and it's not too late. We're still in the early innings of AI and really
comforting.
Yeah,
comforting.
It is. Leaders of today, they're not the youngest folks at these companies. That's across any industry, right? You see the CEOs of every other industry out there, they probably have some gray hairs, but that doesn't mean those companies aren't keeping up with the pace of AI. Now, to be clear, the pace of AI is incredibly fast. Even at Fieldguide, it feels like we're drinking out of a fire hose. And actually, the story I like to tell is, I am incredibly studious of AI trends. I study every day, every week, every weekend. I took a 1-week break from studying because I went on my honeymoon, came back and I felt behind.
Oh, man, that's frightening.
It is frightening in some ways because the pace of AI is incredibly fast, right? But as a leader, if you make it clear to your team and company or firm that the firm is going to invest in learning AI and setting the right tone for AI innovation, then your team is going to respect the vision that you all, the leaders, set for their firms. Now, one of the benefits of working with a company like Fieldguide is we are at the forefront of AI. Fieldguide is literally based in a little neighborhood in San Francisco called Dogpatch. And Dogpatch is, for some reason, where all the world's AI engineers are concentrated. What that means is, while we are drinking out of a fire hose, we are also distilling the learnings and benefits across every core use case at the bleeding edge. So we're basically translating what's bleeding edge AI and putting it into practice for the CPA profession. And that's one of the things that we enjoy doing so much. When we work with CIOs, CEOs, COOs of the CPA firm, and we trade notes on AI, we're able to offer the latest perspectives on what we see working in Silicon Valley.
And if I was an accounting firm leader, Jin, I would be so relieved to have you in my boardroom to discern what's relevant for me and what isn't, and take away a lot of the noise and a lot of the hype and explain to me, Rob, this is what you really need in your firm and this is what you need to take back to the troops. So you're, in a sense, the advisor to the advisors, aren't you, Jin, here?
That's right. That's right. Going back to my comment around us viewing our job as being technology consultants.
Yes.
That's a lot of what we do is advise CPA firms through their transformation journeys, not just implementing technology, but again, the people programs, the training, enablement, the culture. We view that as one of the best parts of our jobs right now, because again, we come from practice too. We view ourselves as former advisors and consultants. And when we find ourselves advising and consulting CPA firms in our day-to-day jobs, I like to say, actually, it's kind of like our love language, that we love to communicate in that way, and we find that CPA firms love that we can communicate in that way too.
I get that. And it's wonderful. You are holding firms by the hand into this brave new world. I want to pivot to the last section of this show and talk about the future with you. I appreciate it's difficult. I appreciate it's moving very fast, and asking you to get your crystal ball out and make any kind of predictions is problematic. But how do you see AI evolving in accounting over the next few years? Not just in the tools, but the roles, the skill sets, the firm models. What's going to change? Give us a sense of what that looks like.
Well, we like to try to forecast and look into the future, of course, on a day-to-day basis. But the main thing or the lens that we view the future, through which we view the future, is of how do we empower and amplify human expertise so that we can automate the stuff no one wants to do and elevate and empower people to do their best work. So that's the lens through which we view and design our AI products. What that means is, what we see is in the near to midterm, we're going to see a transition from junior accountants and auditors doing manual testing and work to orchestrating and working with or collaborating with AI agents who really act like digital team members. The work that you might outsource or offshore that you want results faster for. That's where agentic AI is really shining right now. What that means is faster career progression. One thing I like to say is, everyone talks about the pyramid structure, the diamond structure. I don't believe in any of those, frankly. What I believe in is get that old school pyramid structure and make it narrower, right? We like to talk about the CPA profession as being an apprenticeship. Well, last I checked, a wide-based pyramid is not an apprenticeship.
No.
Pyramid scheme. So how do we narrow the triangle and treat it like a true apprenticeship, provide an amazing career experience for younger talents who are exploring this career path, and accelerate their careers to become managers, senior managers, potentially partners faster? People forget 20 years ago, PAs became partners in like 10 years, maybe less, fewer. Nowadays, when I talk to my friends who I started with in the Big Four, they're like years 14, 15, 16 without a path to partnership. We think there's a really great opportunity to make this a truly attractive career again, and make audits, frankly, sexier.
Amen to that. It's a hopeful message. What about the world of tech solutions, software providers, tech specialists supplying in the accounting world? It's crowded. It seems noisy. There's a lot of marketing activity going on. There's a lot of people saying to accounting firms, buy our product. We will solve all of your problems overnight. What does your world look like on the tech side of things, and particularly in the next few years, Jin?
At first, when I saw so much of this marketing noise, I was a little discouraged because some of these legacy providers, they're doing a ton of great marketing, speaking to the promise of agentic AI. But when you look under the hood, a lot of them are still the same products. So a lot of people say, like, it's not enough to put lipstick on a pig. I agree with that.
We use that in the UK as well. It's the same phrase. Yes, we say you can't polish a turd. You might use that one as well. But you're right. All the marketing messages in the world is just hot air if you can't back that up.
Exactly. But, the optimist in me is now viewing this trend as this is a real shift in expectations. What it really means is CPA firms are hungry and have an appetite for AI transformation, and these vendors are desperately trying to keep up with what the buyers are looking for. right? Now, again, the products aren't quite keeping up, but what this really means is a shift in the category of software for accounting firms. And it validates the vision that Fieldguide is pursuing, right? So what we believe is, and fundamentally from a values perspective, the people at Fieldguide and myself, we believe in meritocracy. Of course, we're going to do our best to continue to market at the bleeding edge. But what we know is our products are game changing. They're bleeding edge. They're cutting through the hype. We are cutting through the hype to bring practical solutions to the industry. Going back to the AI maturity framework that we produced, we have an AI offering that meets firms where they are, depending on where they are in the leveling system. Now, the AI maturity framework, to be clear, while we're super proud of our work with that, we don't frankly need this to be a Fieldguide thing. We're hoping that this becomes a roadmap for the industry to just adopt and put to use, whether they work with Fieldguide or not.
Definitely talk that a lot about that a lot more in the future, because it's going to be a really important piece of work there. Jin, put yourself in the shoes of a CTO or a managing partner, a CEO, about to invest in a huge technology project or a piece of software. What questions should they be asking the people pitching to them that would really uncover the good from the great and cut through the hype and get to someone like a Fieldguide that is the genuine article?
Well, first and foremost, while every CTO, CIO should be studying the marketing to understand where the profession is headed, don't believe every marketing team and their vendors, right? Just because the marketing is great doesn't mean the product is keeping up. So dig under the surface, look under the hood, ask for real case studies. Ask the vendors if they have real customer stories of taking firms through their transformation journeys. My hunch is many of the legacy providers, they have no case studies having gone through AI transformation. They're simply bolting on a ChatGPT wrapper or something similar. Whereas, companies like Fieldguide, we have years of experience seeing firms progress from levels 1 through 4 in just several years, right? So we have the experience, we have the team, the consultants, again, the AI solutions architects to help firms through their journeys. And again, my hunch is most vendors in the space are just trying to bolt on AI without the proper infrastructure and support around it.
And that can be a very costly mistake, can't it?
Absolutely. It'll be costly to buy the software, and then it'll be a costly mistake of lost time.
This is great, Jin. It's wonderful talking to a real expert on this that is living and breathing. A couple more quick questions for you. What excites you most about the Fieldguide journey over the next few years? Because you guys are going places.
So first and foremost, when it comes to having the best AI engineers in the industry, the best venture funding, who funded many IPO companies, I'm not concerned about that at all. We're going to have the best people and resources to build the best AI products. What excites me most is seeing our work in AI actually delivering real results for firms. Going back to that competition that global firm did with us, that doesn't happen by accident, right? So seeing that our work is really being received well by the CPA firms, not just buying our AI for the hype, which is a short-term way of thinking, right? Just because you buy our AI product and our revenue goes up for 1 year doesn't mean it's 10 years of revenue for us, right? So what we like to deliver is practical solutions that actually drive value today, progress firms through their AI transformation journeys, and we're confident that we're one of the few companies in the space that can offer that, because we've seen, again, several firms go through that journey already. So at the end of the day, the thing I'm most excited about is my fellow auditors who are actually using our AI products. When you look at our usage data, the people who use our AI products, they don't just use it for a week and leave it behind. They use it more and more every single week. That's how we know that we're delivering value.
Jin, that's great. Last question. Leave a message of hope, would you, for the accounting leaders of today that are 1 foot in the old world, 1 foot in the new world, perhaps disillusioned at times, but in other times excited. What words would you leave them in parting to set them up for what could be a very exciting time?
A lot of CPA firm leaders have expressed just disappointing news about the legacy providers and how they haven't really been keeping these firms at the pace of innovation. This is pre-AI too, right? Just even getting to the cloud. how is it that our industry got to the cloud slower than the construction industry? So a lot of CPA firm leaders, I have very close relationships with. I'm having dinner with one of the CEOs, in the city I'm in right now. And they're asking me like, please don't sell to those companies.
Don't leave us behind.
Exactly. Because they want us to be independent and they want us to continue to innovate. They believe in our vision, our mission, our people, right? They know that we have their backs. So that's the mission that we're building towards, right? We know that a lot of firms are believing in us and hoping that we continue into our own IPO journey to become a public company that truly transformed this industry. That's the thing that drives us every single day, right? We're not doing this to just quickly flip our company to a larger company. We're doing this to help this industry. And honestly, Rob, I've never felt this much purpose in my life. This kind of job, of course, is stressful, but I don't know. I've never found a more rewarding experience in my life.
Well, those are very empowering words as we live. This is the Inside Public Accounting podcast. I am Rob Brown, your co-host. Chelsea Summers and I will be back next week with another episode. But thank you for joining us on the show. Jin Chang, co-founder and CEO of Fieldguide. It's been an honor to spend a bit of time with you today and really get some hope and some excitement for the future in accounting. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Rob.